Welcome back. You're listening to Westchester Talk Radio, which is produced by Shark Creative and made possible by our friends over at Entergy Indian Point Energy Center, where they are literally keeping the lights on and continue to support the community as they always have right through April of 2021. Also, special thanks to Lapolis Electric, where you're never left in the dark. They're doing a great job offering 24-hour emergency services and are truly at the top of the COVID-19 pandemic with taking all precautions needed to provide a safe and healthy environment. Check out their podcast series called Live Wire, which is produced by Shark Creative and can be found on demand at lapoliselectric.com. Well, we have our isolation therapy episode number 19, and I am here with the Chief Executive Officer over at the Carver Center in Portchester. Her name is Anne Bradner. Anne, welcome to the show. It's nice to see you. It's nice to have you here. Anne is an experienced Chief Executive Officer and has demonstrated a history of working in the nonprofit organization management industry, skilled in philanthropy, community organization, nonprofit management, and organizational development. Strong business development professional, graduated from New Trier High School and Smith College. Anne, how are you doing? You're right there in Portchester, which, by the way, I grew up in Portchester, and I learned how to swim at the YMCA, which is now the Carver Center. So I'm closely connected to that building. I spent some, early years in childhood there. Have some fond memories. I know that the place has transformed, from since then. But tell us how you're doing personally, and how are things at the Carver Center?
Well, thank you, Andrew. I'm happy to. Carver Center is still operating. We have pivoted our services. Much of what we do is closed and not happening on site right now. The after-school program that we run in Portchester is obviously closed, as the children aren't allowed to be together. But we are still conducting citizenship classes remotely, helping immigrants become full citizens of the United States. And our Carver Market, which is our food pantry, is up and fully operational at the moment. And in fact, because the need for food is so great, that program has grown tremendously during this crisis. Typically, our market is inside the building, and it is a self-shopping style market. And we typically served 350 families prior to the crisis. We moved the market out to the back of our building, and it operates outdoors from our playground. We serve the residents of Portchester from the back of the building. And we're able to keep social distancing and all the safety protocols in place. And our numbers have increased substantially, Andrew. We're serving more people than ever.
I can only imagine. We actually just had our isolation therapy number 18 just prior to this with Feeding Westchester. I was talking with Matt Honeycutt, which, by the way, he sends his regards and thanks you for all of your help and your support and the partnership that you guys have. You want to talk a little bit about that? How does that work?
I would love to. Feeding Westchester is amazing, and they are the supplier for most of the food that we provide to the community month in, month out. And during this crisis, they've been amazing and been able to increase the supply and support all of the food banks around the county, Carver Center included. The need is great. In April, we served 1,933 households.
Wow.
Based on the number of family members in those households, together we fed 7,719 residents. So our partnerships are important. Feeding Westchester is a big one. We're also working closely with Caritas and with the Salvation Army in Portchester. One of the things we did in March was we got together and realized that we're all in the business of addressing food insecurity. So how could we work together so we weren't duplicating services and spreading our resources as widely as we can? So Carver is a distribution point. Salvation Army is doing home delivery to families that can't come out, and Caritas is helping source more food. So they're getting donations from restaurants and licensed caterers. They're still cooking meals, which then they give to us or the Salvation Army to hand out. So it's been a beautiful thing.
And could you tell us a little bit about what's food insecure mean? Because I know that we bring that up, especially with everything that's going on lately. But even prior to this, could you tell our audience a little bit about what that really means by being food insecure? Because it's not just about not having any food at all. It's quite contrary to that.
Yeah, there are any number of families who, based on their circumstances, can't produce 3 meals a day from their home kitchens for their families. And the community helps make that up in a number of ways during the year. Groceries is one. There are families who are living so close to the margin that they have to choose between rent or food. So when they can get food donations, that helps them stay in their homes, or it helps them pay medical bills and keep up with the demands of life. We normally during the year, we have a hot meal program. So our after school program, when kids come after school, they need nutrition to get through the rest of their day. And so we cook and then distribute meals to our after school program, the ones run by the Westchester Arts Council, and then we serve Head Start programs as well. So all those kids are getting a end of the day hot meal, and sometimes it's the last hot meal they're going to have. They might have a little snack at home, but what they're getting at 3:30 is really fueling them for the rest of the evening. So it's important work.
No doubt about it. Is there anything else you want to add as far as the crisis and how you've had to pivot during the crisis? Anything else that people should know, and how else they can help you? Can we point people in the right direction? What can they do if someone's out there listening and they want to do something for Carver Center? How are they able to help you?
Well, right now, the main way is to help us keep doing the work we do. We depend on private contributions for the most part for our budget. So because we're limiting the numbers of people at Carver Center to keep the food safe and to keep our clients safe and to keep each other safe, we can't really accept volunteers at this time. When life goes back to our new normal, we hope to be able to welcome volunteers back at Carver Center. Volunteer help is a big part of how we do what we do during the year. So stay tuned. If you're interested in volunteering, let us know. And when we can, we would love to include you. Likewise, we're not accepting donations of food because we have to keep the boxes and the cans clean. So we are holding off on accepting donations from individual families until we get past this part of the crisis. But we are running a Carver Cares Challenge online, and we are accepting financial donations. And no amount is too small, but that money helps us buy food, and it helps us pay the staff to be here to keep the services open and keeping our building operational during the crisis.
And that would be carvercenter.org, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, carvercenter.org, Carver Center, building brighter futures by serving, educating, and empowering families in our community. Just a wonderful cause right there in Portchester, New York. Anne Bradner, the CEO. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Keep your head up, keep moving forward as you always have been, and let's hope that things improve and that we are able to help more people as we move forward here. I do want to remind people that you're listening to Isolation Therapy, episode 19 on Westchester Talk Radio, which is produced by Shark Creative and also made possible by our friends at White Plains Hospital. They're working hard there on the front lines everywhere in the community, but particularly at White Plains Hospital. And we also produce their podcast series, by the way, called Health Talk, which can be found at whiteplainshospital.org. We'll be back again with more Isolation Therapy. Anne Bradner, nice to speak with you today.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It's a privilege to be able to serve.